But first, how far would you go to have a child? Now, it can be difficult, it can be heartbreaking, it can even be expensive for some.
Yes, so would you consider a sperm donor, but an unregulated donor? This is someone you can find online who would donate sperm for free and even provide you with the kit to help inseminate and help you become pregnant.
When Mitch takes on a new recipient, he sends them a welcome pack.
This is a speculum that's like a demo one. So essentially, it's put inside the body and then opened up. It's just doing essentially what would happen with sexual intercourse, placing the sperm exactly where it needs to be. But ideally, you would almost like whip it up like a 99 cone so that as much of that stuff is in contact with the cervical mucus. I send them a small and a medium and a headlight torch, just so that they can physically see the cervix. One of the recipients, she calls her partner her vagina miner when she's got her headlight torch on.
Right. Now, that's from a programme you're going to see on Channel 4 tomorrow night. It's called 4 Men, 170 Babies. Britain's super sperm donors, 10 o'clock, Channel 4 tomorrow night. Mitch Kennedy was in the clip and he's here now alongside Dr. Zoe. Mitch, first of all, we just got to ask you why? Why? Because you're not doing it for any sort of fee. Why are you doing it?
I think it's in us to want to help people and make that difference in the world and have a positive effect on people. I'm a blood donor, I'm on the bone marrow register, but there's nothing that gives me so much feedback as donating sperm and actually seeing these children growing up on Facebook and things. And
But the thing is, you mightn't see those children growing up, of course. You have a son of your own?
Yeah.
Who's how old?
He's 5. Here's
the thing. Here's my problem with all of this. You're being so generous with your sperm, splashing it around everywhere, what you do. There are going to be a lot of little children that may look like you out there. Does that not really cut you up that you have no responsibility or no say over their lives or wouldn't be involved in their lives? Why would that give you joy?
I guess my responsibility comes down to the recipients I choose to help. So I get 10, 15 requests a week. And I just have to work out who I think...
This is all online, is it?
Yeah, so there's like a website called Pride Angel, where most of my recipients come from, and I just think, well, if I was a child, who would I want as my parents? You know, so...
That's not your responsibility.
Well, that's the only choice I have, because once I've donated, it's up to the parents to do the parenting.
So what's your criteria if people are asking for a donation? So, what are you looking at to say, you know, would I choose these people as parents?
To be honest, because I get so many requests, because I'm an AI-only donor, we're in high demand.
Only?
Yeah, so it's artificial insemination.
Okay.
So some private donors, they want to have sex with the recipient, but I don't have sex with my recipients.
Okay.
So that makes me quite desirable, because most of my recipients are lesbian couples.
Yeah.
So I want them to be nice people, caring, feel a bit of chemistry with them. You know, it's a bit like online dating, really. You know, you
just get a feeling.
You just get a feeling, yeah.
So how does it work? So you talk online, you think, right, I think this couple are decent people. Then what happens?
So we would tend to exchange emails. I would send them a list of standardised questions so that I know that I'm covering everything.
Like what?
So, for example, I don't donate to smokers. I just feel it's not really, you're not in the right place if you're doing that. Yeah. Then, so we talk on email, standardised questions. We talk on the phone. Some of my recipients, I've spoken to them on the phone more than 10 hours.
Yeah. So eventually you meet them face to face somewhere. So how does that transaction, if you'll pardon the expression, how does that happen?
Well, generally when we first meet, we've been speaking for so long anyway that they tend to be quite nervous because it's such a big deal. This could potentially be the start of their family or not. And because there's lots of horror stories about private donors either not turning up or...
So do you go to their house? Do you meet in hotels?
Yeah, so often, sometimes recipients will come up to me, but most of the time, because I've got good flexibility, I'll travel to them. So most of the time, the donations are in their own home. So without having to go to a clinic and pay thousands and thousands of pounds, this is, say, a lesbian couple conceiving in bed, alone, in their own home.
But this is the bit
gives you a lot of power,
yeah.
doesn't it? It's like a big vanity project in a way. You're the one in control. You can make someone happy, not make someone happy. You know, the very fact you are an actor, you are a model, you're somebody who puts themselves out there anyway. Is this just another extension of all of that, of being, you know, the adulation that comes with it?
No, I think it's it's more an extension of being a blood donor, you know.
But there are regulations with being blood donor,
Yeah.
as you know.
Which brings in
and,
Dr.
you know,
Zoe.
this is unregulated. So I'm saying, you see it as a wonderful thing you're doing. I'm sure the recipients, when they're holding that baby in their arms, think you're a wonderful person. But what worries me, Zoe, is that it's unregulated. I mean, nobody knows if the donations have been checked for anything.
Absolutely, yeah. And there is another way. There is a regulated way. And, of course, there is a cost associated with that. But there are some clear differences between the two. If this is done down the regulated route, then that donor will give a full family history, which is really important. And the sperm will be checked and the semen will be checked for any sexually transmitted infections. Now, giving Mitch the benefit of the doubt, you know, I'm sure you... All that's in order.
Does anybody ask you
no
for,
guarantees.
you know, checks or tests?
Yeah, so I get tested every 3 or 4 months and have the paperwork to prove it. But then, of course, if you meet someone in a bar or a club or a partner even, you know, on a dating app or something, there's none of these genetic checks or anything. And actually, I've had my genome sequenced, which is way more than a clinic would ever do.
Yeah, it is. It is. But in the clinics, they are doing these checks, and some sperm is, you know, not used. It is withdrawn because it's not suitable for medical reasons. But I think actually, as a woman as well, and as a woman actually, I'm in a position where I'm considering using donor sperm at some point in the next 12 months. My biggest fears would be around the fact that you could actually claim parental rights to any of those children. There's nothing to stop you. And those women could take you to court to pay for the upbringing of those children, so you don't have that protection, which through a regulated clinic you're protected.
Only if I donated to Zoe, say, then literally there'd be no... I couldn't stop you coming after me for child support. But if I donate to there's an act called the HFEI Act 2008, enacted in 2009, and essentially if 3 conditions are met, then I'm totally covered. So the couple have to be civil partnered or married before conception. There has to be no sexual contact, and the non-birth parent has to consent, so I get that in writing. So if those 3 conditions are met, then the donor has no legal responsibility.
What about when the child grows up and says, you know, how was I conceived? Do you ever think you might get a knock on the door and there's a child, like Eamonn said, could look very like you, who says, well, you know, hi, Dad?
I'm hoping to put the recipients in touch with each other quite soon, set up a secret Facebook group so that they can all talk to each other.
But all the children who have been...
No, so this will be the parents.
The parents.
And then the children tend to know that their donor is called Mitch, and they've seen photographs of me, and then they know...
So you do keep in touch with the
Yeah,
families?
so I keep in touch with the families, yeah. We've got WhatsApp groups with all of them.
And they all want to keep in touch with you?
That'll keep you busy at Christmas, won't it?
Yeah.
But of course, these are not my children. I don't see them as my children. I'm only a father to one child.
But then, you see, that's what I find interesting, because if people donate to Sperm Bank, it's completely anonymous. They never know where that sperm has gone. They never know that child. But I see Eamonn's point is like, you know how many children you fathered.
I get photographs.
But is there not an element of, you know, you therefore have reneged any responsibility, but you've got this kind of like, yeah, I fathered all those kids.
I didn't father them. To be a father is, you know, that's when you fall off the swing, they put the plaster on your knee, and that's where, because the parents are those who raise the child. Yeah. You know, but
if they know you, if they come looking, that's quite hard, isn't it? They can't go looking when it's an anonymous donor.
They can when they're 18, but I've left it open to the parents. They know their children. If they want to contact me when they're 14, 15, 16, these children will grow up knowing that they can speak to me any time, really, if they've got a question.
What about
even
your
now.
son? I mean, your son's 5. What will you tell him?
Well, he knows that I've donated. So
You've told him he's 5 years old.
So
how did you explain that?
Well, it was as part of he was asking where babies come from. And so he knows about seeds and eggs. And he knows that I've given my seeds to nice ladies. There's
another potential issue here as well, isn't it? Because you live in Aberdeen, and presumably because you're travelling, most of these women are in quite a close vicinity.
Well, no, they're all over the UK.
OK. So, but if all these children are growing up not knowing that they're blood related...
They will know that they're donor conceived, though. And they'll also know their donor called Mitch.
But then say there's I know what you're saying. So it's like two children meet and they actually turn out to both be yours.
But of course, it's a fact of life that when these children go out clubbing or whatever at uni and they meet someone, so if they know they've got a sister called, you know, we'll call her Freya, from a certain part of the UK, and they meet someone with that same name, they'll think, well, hold on, you're not donor conceived, are you?
And why would you not go and just donate at a sperm bank?
So I have donated through a clinic, and it just feels very strange to be donating to someone that I don't know, anyone could walk off the street and get a donation, whereas this way...
So you don't like the fact it's anonymous, you like to know?
Yeah, and that's why people use me. I mean, one of my couples, they could easily afford to go down the clinic route, but they want to hear the voice of the man that they're about to get pregnant with. They want to get to know my personality, because the example I always use is somebody on paper, 6 foot, dark hair, blue eyes, loves jazz music. Sounds great, but in reality, it's that creepy guy at your work that you've never even speak to.
Have you got a partner?
I'm single.
Sorry, I know I've got to go. It's too interesting.
So interesting.
I'm just saying it's interesting, but I do find it weird, and I do ask you the question. I do find it weird, and I think that really you've got to ask yourself: are you there for the applause as an actor?
Well, I'm not an actor. I do little bit parts in TV and film.
But you like
stuff.
the attention, obviously.
But the only reason I did the documentary was so that people would know about this, because most people don't know. And I hope people watching at home... It's totally legal, yeah. I hope people at home will say, I could do that, I could be a donor. That's the whole point.
Well, Zoe hopes they won't say that.
Well, it's legal, but it's risky. And I think if anybody's thinking about going down that route, just, make sure... I understand why some women and why some men choose to do this, but there are men that aren't like Mitch that have got other ideas out there. So just be really careful and know your options.
Mitch, certainly your intentions seem to be very pure, very good, very honest, but I'd love to know what a psychiatrist would make of it. Have you never been to a psychiatrist to find out?
I've never been to a psychiatrist.
Maybe that's the next interview we'll do. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for
Mitch.
talking to us.
And we said that's on Channel 4, 10 o'clock tomorrow night.
Tomorrow. Thank you.